Hi, everybody. So, look, we're going to be talking about 6 reasons why some writers are more successful than others. Really quickly, if you don't know who I am, I'm T Styles. I own and operate the Cartel Publications, which is an urban fiction company, and the Elite Writer Squad or the Elite Writers Academy, where I teach people how to build their book businesses through story structure, marketing, and publishing. So, if that's something that interests you, please like and subscribe right now. So we're going to talk about 6 reasons why some writers are more successful than others. And stay for the end because I have a tool that may help you if you are in need of one of the feedback points that I talk about. The first thing I want to say is for some writers, it often appears that some writers have a more successful career than they have. And although naturally some people are natural storytellers, there are some things that you can do right now in your writing journey, in your writing career to help you. Okay. So the first thing is discipline. And the reason why this is a point is because a lot of writers will start out their process trying to write their books, trying to get the book done and hit the end, but they don't necessarily have a plan in place to see it through. And with the plan, you also need to have the discipline to sit down and actually write the book. So I have a plan. I've studied it. I realized it's going to work. Now I got to make sure I make time to do that. Successful writers are very disciplined and they understand this is not up for negotiation. And this was actually done on a survey of New York Times bestselling authors about 3 or 4 years ago. And when I went through this list, I thought about myself and a lot of the other successful writers that I know, and all of these things ring true. Number 2, they have a vast vocabulary. I don't know if you follow me at my writer show on the Clubhouse on Mondays at 8:30 a.m., but one of the things we do is the word of the day. I love the word of the day because normally when we talk to people in and around our lives, we use the same jargon, the same language, and things like that. But by doing a word of the day, like today, I think it was Garanture. It sounds like furniture. And we often come into contact with words that we don't normally use. But by doing this on a regular basis, all of our vocabulary has increased. So you can subscribe to something like Word Genius. I think Miriam has something that could be delivered to your mailbox, your email box, or whatever. But you definitely want to make sure you have a vast vocabulary because saying the same thing over and over again will bore the hell out of readers. And successful writers know this and they make sure they use it. But when you're using these words, don't throw them all over the place because they're big words. You know, there's a creative way that you need to be able to use these words, but when used right, it always hits the point. Number 3, they are open to feedback. A lot of writers will hire editors and beta readers and people like that. But then when the writer or the editor or the beta reader, I hate that word, beta reader, gives them feedback that they don't like, they often get into their feelings. We understand as successful writers that we need good feedback. It's not enough for our husband, our girlfriends, our homies to read our books and say, this book is good. While we may appreciate that, we need to make sure that the structure is set up right, that the flow is right. So being open to feedback that is applicable, because some things you may get from your editor, you may not want to change. But being open to feedback that's applicable can really help you. For instance, me, I work really closely with my spouse. She is plenty of times when I've had brought to her my book and she said, well, maybe you need to want to tweak this. And sometimes I can explain what it is I meant. Other times, I have to take into consideration and say, what, maybe I can do better. I understand that I want my book and my finished product to be worth the while, not only for myself, but for my readers. The next thing is they are prolific. How many times have you done anything in life where you did it the one time and you were mega successful? I can't think of anything. I don't care if it's a job at work, if it's cooking, if it's taking care of children. Normally mothers get really good after the second one sometimes. I don't care what it is. In order to be really good at it, you have to do it over and over and over again. And successful writers are very prolific. They're writing the first book, the second, and the third book. This is one of the main reasons why, after working with so many women and a couple of men this past year, I started getting into the planners and the templates and the courses, because I understand that when you have a design and you're able to use the design over and over and over again, that you will get your book done and you will be able to do it multiple times. When I first started my career back in the day with I want to say my first 4 or 5 books, I started to get concerned. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pump out the books the level that I felt in my heart I wanted to. And it wasn't until I sat down and created a plan that worked, and I continued to use this plan and tweak this plan, that I became prolific. So now 93 books later, I'm still here. Hi, Kira. Hi, you guys. I love that you guys are joining me live for this. Thank you so much. The next one is they develop a thick skin. This is going to be necessary because while you may have readers who are all excited about your book, love your book, you are going to run into situations where people aren't going to be happy about your book. Successful writers know this. And it doesn't even mean that anything is wrong with your book. In a lot of cases, you don't know what that person was going through when they gave you this bad review or when they gave you the feedback. Or it doesn't even necessarily always have to be bad, but constructive. But we realize that we have to have a thick skin. We have to have that attitude where we're not going anywhere. I don't care if, you don't like the book, or maybe it wasn't the best book. You, in all cases, should put out the best book that you can. But once you are done with this book and you deliver this book, and if somebody doesn't like the book for whatever reason, don't allow that to determine how you are going to carry on in your career. You have to have thick skin for this business. There have been a lot of writers who have given up on the craft. As a matter of fact, I can't even count the number of writers who started out with me with Triple Crown Publications who aren't writing anymore. There's only probably a handful of us. And the ones that are doing it are doing like big things. The next point is that they are very consistent. And when I talk about consistent, I mean they aren't just writing the first book. Anybody can write a first book, especially if it's close to home and you are writing based off personal experience. Anybody can write a first book, but are you able to get that second, third, fourth, and fifth one out? A lot of writers aren't able to do that. But if you are consistent and you continue to push yourself to do the next, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and you get consistent, a few things happens. Number one, you'll develop your voice. You always hear people talk about that voice. You don't get that voice until you've written a lot and you have your own swag about you, where somebody could pick up your book and say, oh, this is my writer. This is my person. I have a way of talking in my books. Some of my favorite writers have a way of talking in their books, and I enjoy them. That only happens as a result of being consistent. I want to go over it again, and then I'm going to tell you about this app that I was talking about earlier that it will help a lot of people if you are in need of beta readers and things like that. Discipline, a vast vocabulary. Number 3, open to feedback. 4, prolific. 5, you develop a thick skin. And number 6, you are consistent. This was done with the survey of the New York Times best-selling writers. And all of them had all of these. None of these were out. As a matter of fact, if something was not available, they paid somebody to do it, like in terms of being prolific. This is why you see a lot of the authors like Patterson and those guys. You'll see co-writers on their books because they realize they still got to be prolific, but they may not have the time or the inclination, to write now. So they pay somebody to do it. Okay. If you need more help with getting organized, please visit the link in my bio for my mega page-by-page book publishing planner, as well as the character development planner. But if you are in need of beta readers, there is an app. It's called Edit Out Loud. And the reason why this app is pretty amazing is because you are able to upload your book to this platform. But when you're uploading the book to the platform and you're hearing your actual book read out loud to you, you can make changes as you go along. But there's another feature on there that talks about beta readers. So if you want somebody to be able to read your book and give you their feedback for whatever reason, you're able to access this option on there, and then you can take into consideration what they said. Remember what I said. People have different reasons for reading books, and people have different reasons for giving different responses. Try not to take all of that to heart. Hi, Terry. Try not to take all of that to heart. At the same time, if you are alone, because a lot of writers are alone in their journey, they don't have a spouse or friends who are able to read that. I just wanted to read their books. I just wanted to give you that option. Okay? I really hope this helps, guys. I have been live every day since Monday of last week. I'm still on my 60-day live challenge. I'm actually loving it. I appreciate everybody that comes here at 1 o'clock and hang out with me. Continue to write. If you need help, visit the Elite Writers Academy for one-on-one sentence. Join my Elite Writer Squad. We meet every Monday and twice a month for class. All right, guys, have a great day and get to writing. Bye.